Hey guys, this is the argument with Toddy One Skip. I am Toddy One Skip, and thank you for joining me with this episode. I think it's episode 14. Pretty sure it's episode 14. And I have Lulu from Mothership Explorers. Now, Lulu's the woman that made that surviving Gypsy Rose video in Dee Dee's voice. And the reason why she was able to relate to that is because she's had her own struggles in helping her child survive, which she's going to share with us here. So, guys, welcome to the argument. All right, guys. So, this is Toddy, and this is Lulu
Hello.
from the Mothership Explorers.
Hi,
And
hi.
I did an interview, excuse me, and it was about the video that you put out about Dee Dee.
Right.
And so that struck home with you because you have your own battle.
True.
And you were able to understand more than the average person about what Dee Dee probably went through when it came to Gypsy.
Yeah, I think so. For
I think
sure.
so too. Yeah, I think so as well. So why don't you tell us your story?
Well, I'm not sure where to start
Mhm.
because it's long and complicated. But as far as like the home care that I can relate to with Gypsy, my son also has a G tube. My son also has a complicated condition. Um, Not that I'm trying to, well, I am. I'm comparing way worse than Gypsy's by far. But the day-to-day, needs that you're trying to meet for your child and trying to keep them healthy, happy, entertained, and everything else when they're walking a tightrope is complicated sometimes. And everything takes a lot more effort, a lot more planning.
Right. So let's start. Let's because okay. Let's start off with was your son diagnosed right away with his problem?
Yeah, I mean, he was born with a condition called an omphalocele, which that's when the intestines are on the outside of the body.
Oh, I've heard about that actually. I've heard about that.
Yeah. And we were advised by
So
our,
let me just explain so there is some similarities you do have with Dee Dee Blanchard because even though she was in the medical field and probably just, like one of the people that goes around the hospital and just helps and does the dirty work per
yeah.
se, which listen, there's a lot of credit to that because
Oh,
somebody's
yeah.
got to do it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for
But
sure.
you were a nurse
Right.
and
Right.
and so you had your own convictions just like Dee Dee did, right? I mean, but so tell us, what does it mean? Like, we see the picture in our head if we close our eyes about intestines being on the
Yeah.
outside.
Sorry, I got something
But
in my eye.
but what does that mean as far as what does that do in layman's terms? What is that?
Well, it's, something that has to be resolved. You can't live life with your intestines on the outside. So there are two choices. And one is either to manage it surgically, or there's another one where you basically you put the intestines in a plastic tube and let them slowly enter back into the body.
Okay.
We went with the surgical approach.
Okay.
Hindsight, shouldn't have done it, should have gone the other way. But that's what happened. So that was kind of a cruel entry into the world for him. And then he also had his bladder on the outside of his body too,
Wow.
and some spinal deformities. So he can't feel anything from his waist down, which, that was one of the things that they said about Gypsy.
Right.
So, but he has, he can move, but he doesn't have any feeling.
So he can move his from the waist down.
Yeah.
But clearly, if you don't have any feeling, you cannot
Well,
walk.
there's got to be some feeling somewhere, but not superficially, At one point, he was trying to walk,
Okay.
but just based on his anatomy, he really couldn't. I always say it's like a first position in ballet. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No. Do I
Okay,
look
so
like I
like
do
if like
ballet?
when your feet are turned completely out, like that.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Oh, okay. So that's the way your son's feet are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so when he was born, I mean, there was physicalities that you could see right away something was wrong.
Sure. Well, we knew
Oh,
on ultrasound that something
okay.
was wrong, but yeah. So that was, taken care of when he was born. Put his intestines were pretty much stuffed back in his poor little body, and when he was 2 months old, he got very, very sick. And he had never done really well. He had vomited a lot, and things just got really bad really fast. And he was projectile vomiting, and he just progressively went from bad to worse to I was taking him to different hospitals because the surgeon who I called first said, it's not my problem. Call your pediatrician. I was like, what? Wait, this kid's post-op. This is a trusted surgeon. I knew this woman, and she completely let us down. So we were driving him all over to different ERs trying to get help. And they were saying he had the flu. And I'm like, he hasn't been anywhere. We haven't been anywhere. How could he have the flu?
Right.
They gave him a shot of Zofran to make him stop vomiting.
Right.
And so, I just can see this image in my mind so clearly. I had him on top of the dryer, with the dryer on in his seat to try to do that movement to soothe him.
Right.
And he was in so much pain, he couldn't even cry. He was grunting, huh, huh, huh.
Mm.
And, I'm calling the surgeon saying, we've got a problem. I keep calling her back and she won't respond.
Right. Wow.
Finally take him back to the ER, and they did an x-ray, and they're like, there's a big problem here. They call her. She still doesn't show up. Transfer him to the intensive care unit. And the nurse there gave him another shot of morphine, which he had one before they transferred him, so it wouldn't be as painful during the transfer.
Right.
So right before the nurse went to give him the shot, my husband said he just had one in the ER. She goes, oh, it's okay. And my husband's not in the medical field, so he's like, I guess, she's right.
Right.
I don't know, about 5 minutes later, I looked at Tyler, and I saw a look I'd seen before on patients right before they go. He was dying. And I went to the nurses and I said, he's got that look. He looks like he's going to code blue.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, you're just tired. Why don't you go to the cafeteria and get something to drink? I'm thinking, I must be losing my mind. Nobody's listening to me anywhere I go.
Right.
I'm telling you, there's something wrong with him, and everyone's telling me he's okay. Well, here we are in the intensive care unit. I'm saying he looks like he's going to code, and you're telling me I'm wrong again? I thought I was just really overly tired and losing it. So as I'm walking out of the double doors, the doors shut behind me, and I hear code blue, PICU, code blue. And I thought, well, can't be Tyler. They just told me he's fine. And I see my husband wave me in frantically. I go in. Everyone's on top of Tyler. I fell to the floor screaming. It was so surreal. I just nothing could come out of my mouth other than no. No, no, no.
Right.
They got him stabilized, and the surgeon's still not there. She finally showed up like an hour later. She hugged me, and I smelled alcohol on her breath. I thought, there's just no way she would do this. There's no way. She operated on my daughter way before this. She saved my daughter's life. She saved my niece's life. Everybody in this town knows this woman. She's the creme de la creme. So I second guessed myself again.
Right.
Tyler goes off to surgery, and he
And what
lost.
was this? What was this surgery for?
Oh, because his intestines had twisted.
Oh, okay.
There was no blood flow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
And
know
they,
how dangerous that. Yeah, I do know how dangerous that could be. But go ahead and
yeah,
explain.
like in a dog, it would be considered bloat.
I have a friend that has Crohn's,
Ah,
so that happens sometimes, and she has to get her intestine, some of her intestine cut and then put back, together and stuff. And so
yeah,
yeah,
Crohn's is wicked.
yeah.
So Tyler lost 95% of his intestines.
Wow.
Then it got better. The next
So anyway,
night,
so you were going to surgery. I'm sorry. So but I wanted to know what the surgery was for.
yeah, it was to go and remove
And
the dead intestine.
yeah,
And of course, this all could have been prevented had she just taken my call in the first place.
right, right.
He goes off to surgery, comes back, he's in shock, and his body bloated out. All the fluids in his circulatory system escaped his vessels, and he looked like Charlie Brown. His head was completely round, unrecognizable. And during that time, he suffered some brain damage because the pressure was so intense. As we are, in the PICU, I'm talking to the nurses, like going over, I can't believe this has happened. This is also nuts. And then Tyler, there's no catheter in him because he's too swollen. They can't get one into him. And I kept saying his bladder's going to rupture. We're pumping all these IV fluids into him, and he has no way to void.
For it to come out, right? There's no way to. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but
you don't need to be a doctor. It's common sense.
Nope. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, what goes in has to come out. That is just the way it is.
Right. And they still weren't listening to me.
So I mean, but let me ask you this. So if they couldn't get a catheter in them, I mean, then what option
could they do?
What could they do?
They could have put in a suprapubic catheter, and that's when you go through a surgical approach.
Okay.
Which she really should have done while he was in surgery.
You would think. I guess you would think. I mean, if you're going to go insert, if you're going to put a kid to sleep, you might as well get done what needs to get done at the time. I would think so.
Right.
Right. But I mean, I'm not a doctor, and and I don't know. I don't know. I'm not defending your doctor, but I know that there are certain doctors that do certain procedures. I mean, would that have been something that she should have? I mean, that she could have done?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she taught at County USC. She was a professor there.
Okay, but I mean, you know what they say: those that teach don't do.
Yeah, well, she shouldn't have been. She used to be really good, and that's what I'm getting at. She really was a phenomenal surgeon. But things had changed from when she operated on my daughter to when she operated on me.
Well, you don't want to come into the job, any fucking job, pardon my language, and smell like alcohol, for sure.
Yeah, well, that's probably why she wasn't coming in for so long. But again, I was second guessing myself, thinking she wouldn't do that. This prestigious surgeon? No way.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, as Tyler's
we're all just people underneath our clothes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. True. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So Tyler has no way to void. And
how old was he at this time?
2 months.
He can't even fucking tell you what's wrong.
No.
I mean, like, how
And
frustrating
you were just talking
is that?
about that. You and I were talking about that.
That shit gets me so nervous. I mean, with my dogs, when I see them and I can't figure it out, I really am not good with that. So I can imagine with your child, it's got to be 100 times worse, of course. I mean, of course.
You have to really, really know your child. And I'll give a good example of that in a little bit, but I'll just finish this off with, I was talking to the nurses and I'm complaining that he had no way to void, he can't pee, do something, call the surgeon back. And I noticed that there was fluid coming out of the incision where he had just been operated on. And they were all perplexed. Well, what is this? What is this? His bladder ruptured. Of course it did. So he had to go back to surgery again. And while he was in surgery, I was talking to the nurses, the charge nurse and the respiratory therapist. And I said, I must be losing my fucking mind, because I smelled alcohol on her, that when she came in that night. The charge nurse said, I'm sure you did. Everyone here knows she's an alcoholic. I said, what? What? And the respiratory therapist said I smelled it too. I said, oh my God, here we go. Here we go. Fortunately, Tyler did recover, but not without some scars, not without some battle scars, lasting ones.
Wow.
Lasting. And it's been difficult ever since. Because he lost so much intestine, he had to be on IV food, which is called total parenteral nutrition. And that's fed through a large vein. Actually it's called a PICC line. And this is a PICC line, right? Can you see it?
Yeah. Wow. Oh, yeah.
So this goes up into and feeds into the heart. Does this stuff make you queasy?
It does. I'm not looking, but everybody will see it.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be. I don't have to see it. You can show it.
It's just a plastic straw.
Yeah, I got the picture in my head of it going up and stuff like that. I'm not good with that stuff, but
sorry.
Don't be sorry.
I never met anyone who got queasy just from seeing it, so I didn't even assume.
No. I'm not queasy. I'm not queasy from it. I just don't. The thought of it.
You're very sensitive.
Well, I am. Yeah, I guess I am. I see things in my head when people tell me. When you describe it, I see it. So, but anyway, it doesn't matter because it didn't happen to me, thankfully. It unfortunately, I don't know. I mean, apparently it saved his life because it gave him nutrition, right?
Yeah.
So how long?
Until we ran out of places to put those.
The PICC lines, right?
Yeah.
So how does that work? What does that have to be connected to? So
that is connected to, remember, I sent you a picture of Tyler, right? The one that showed him in this crib, remember?
Mm-hmm.
With the IV bag in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
That was his food. And that was connected to a pump and the tubing, and it connected to the PICC line.
So he didn't have any bottles or anything?
I nursed him. I still did.
Okay.
I knew that, there's a lot of reasons why I did, but there's also growth hormone in breast milk. And I wanted to give him that growth hormone for his intestines. I wanted to give him the most easily digestible food possible to keep his intestines working, what was left.
Right.
Even though I was told I shouldn't breastfeed him, I did anyway. And I did for a very long time.
Okay. So do you have any, that was okay then? That was good, yeah?
Well, now the research has come out saying that's the best thing you can do for him. So my instincts were right.
Good. Does he still so he doesn't have a PICC line anymore?
No, because we ran out of places to put them.
So like you were saying, so what is that? So what do you mean? Where to put them? Like how many?
You have to have a large vein, okay?
Right.
And when you're running parenteral nutrition through your veins, it's very caustic, and it ruins the veins that it's been put in. They basically shrivel up.
Okay.
So once you pull that line out, you're not going to get it back. It's done.
And you can't leave it in in one, right? You can't leave it in a vein, or I don't know.
Yeah. It's it's not supposed to be lifelong, but it's, I mean, I think the longest we had one was maybe 3 months, and it's only because he pulled them out.
Okay.
And he also got very sick.
So he
Multiple times.
pulled them out. He pulled them
He
out.
pulled them out, and he had to have them pulled out because of being sick, because he got blood infections from having the PICC line, because it
Okay.
feeds right to the heart.
Okay. Okay.
And
Wow.
yeah. So anyway, yeah. When we had nowhere else to put one, then we were really up against a wall. That was one of the times we were sent out home to die.
So how old, when did that happen?
He was 8 years old.
Okay, so the PICC line, when did the PICC line start? When he was 2?
When he was 2 months old.
Right, 2 months old. And then so how many PICC lines do you get
36.
until you're 8? 36.
Yeah, which is a tremendous amount of PICC lines. And every time he had to be put under sedation where they gave him ketamine and he's hallucinating, and just pulling up to the hospital and him looking at me and going, oh, it's just awful, awful, awful. I wouldn't wish it on anyone, really.
Of course not. Of course not.
It's heartbreaking. And then, getting blood infections that go crazy to where he's got septic pneumonia. So even though he survived that initial surgery, a lot more happened because of it, because of her not just responding, just the delay.
Not showing up, just not showing up. I mean, just not showing up.
Yeah.
I can't even, I can. It's unfortunate. That's
But with all that,
horrible.
you can probably see that I had a lot of experience with like physical therapy. I had experience with pharmacies, not just like Vaughn's or your store pharmacy. I'm talking about like pharmacies for the IV foods, and dealing with a lot of different people. And
because you had the IV bags at home,
yes,
right? So
yes.
so that was just food, or was it medication as well?
It was his food.
Okay.
That I would, right before it, you have to add the vitamins to it and you mix it in, and it's a process.
So they give you like a bag of, how does that work?
They'll send you, like, for every day you have a new bag.
How do you get it? I'm asking.
On ice. Like, they send it to you on ice.
Oh, so they send it to, so the hospital or
pharmacy. Like it's a pharmacy.
Oh, yeah, the pharmacy sends it to you, or you go pick it up or something?
No, they send it to you. It's not like the pharmacy like at the grocery store. These are different kinds of pharmacies where a lot of them don't even do this because it's so specialized.
I've never heard of it. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. So TPN is, you have to have a whole big setup at your pharmacy to even make it.
What's TPN for people that don't?
Total parenteral nutrition.
That's the bag of food.
Yeah.
Okay. The liquid bag of food that's going to be inserted into him.
Right.
So, let me ask you this. You had some nursing experience, obviously, yes?
Yeah.
How long were you a nurse for before you weren't?
Let's see. 11 years.
Wow. So, did you ever go into one of the hospitals that maybe you worked at, or did you not work at a hospital?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The hospital where I did most of my training is where this all went down.
So people knew who you were, or no? Yes?
Yeah, the surgeon knew who I was, not because of my training there, but because she had operated
on your
my daughter.
Right.
Yeah,
your daughter. You had said your daughter. Yeah. And your niece. You had said your niece as well.
Yes, my niece. Yep.
So, but while you're going through this and you're in the hospital, are you seeing any familiar faces besides, I mean, from you being a nurse? I mean, did you get any, I guess what I'm asking is, Did you get any special treatment? Let me finish. Did you get any special treatment? Meaning, were you able to go into places that the normal parent wouldn't be able to go? Were you able to look at the chart? I mean,
No.
we could all look at charts, but you're able to understand what the hell you're looking at, where
Yeah.
most of us, I've looked at my own hospital chart and was like, I put it back. I'm like, I can't figure this out. It's not in the language in which I speak.
Yeah,
But
no.
there would be, I think, a benefit as well as a con in being able to look at the charts, because maybe there's some stuff that you don't want to see. But I guess as a nurse, you would, I mean, I think of a 2-month-old baby having surgery after surgery, and I say to myself, how they survive.
Yeah, they're tough.
I mean,
Tyler's tough.
how they survive. And
How
I
he
couldn't.
survived all of the things he's been through is absolutely
He's
amazing.
supposed to be here. Do you believe that? Do you
Yeah.
believe?
Yes, I do. I do.
So let me ask you this, and this is personal. You don't have to answer this. And we're not done telling, your story and everything, but your faith in God, how's that work for you throughout all this, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I don't have the same beliefs as, like, say maybe somebody goes to a traditional church does. I believe that we are here to learn lessons, and we're here to do good by each other.
Mhm.
And if you don't learn the lessons that you were sent here to learn, you're going to come back and do it all over again until you get it.
Okay, I understand that. So that is a religion. I don't know if it's if it, where do you come back until you get it right? Oh God. Is it Buddha? Is it Gandhi?
I think it's closer to Buddhism, but
Is it Buddhism?
yeah,
But I
I
mean, that's fine. That's fine. But I guess what I'm saying to you is, when you're going through this with your child, there's got to be at some point that you get so frustrated that have you ever questioned, God, why? Or
oh,
are
of
you here?
course,
Or
of course, all the time.
so that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Has that ever wavered? I
yeah.
guess is
I
what I'm
remember. I
saying.
remember sitting in the temple at Cedar Sinai Hospital, begging the higher powers to save my son. I
Okay.
wouldn't care what kind of place it was. It could have been, you know, it didn't matter. It was whoever's out there listening, help me.
Right, 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 right. No, I hear you. And apparently who's ever out there listening did,
Yeah.
you know. So anyway, so continue on with your story. I had to ask that because I'm curious about that. And we hold a church. I don't know if you know that we hold a church on my Everybody Has a Story to Tell with Toddy One Skip on
Oh no, I
Sunday
didn't know
morning.
that. I
Yeah,
didn't
on
know.
Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. A little too early for you in
Yeah,
California.
5 a.m. That's a crack of dawn. That's not even dawn yet here, actually.
Yeah. So, but
Yeah,
anyway, go
knock
ahead.
that back a few hours. So some of us on
Well,
the West
no, it
Coast.
works. It usually works. You can always catch it later. I mean, you can always catch it later. But yeah. So we do that. Anyway, I have a very strong. I have faith in God. I definitely believe in God. You know. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
well, I don't think that my beliefs are much different.
no, I'm not saying they are not.
Yeah. No, no, I know you're
I
not. I know
haven't.
you're not.
I haven't. Listen, I've been very fortunate. I've been very fortunate with the um when you look at my life and you look at your life, or you know the people that I've lost in my life, have usually been to old age, with the exception of, Jennifer, my
Hmm.
ex.
Hmm.
Um that was from fentanyl. But it's different when it's your child, number one.
Oh yeah.
And it's different when I mean, so, like people said about Dee Dee Blanchard, like listening for that sleep apnea machine and just, like not being able to sleep because you're afraid the fucking machine's going to go off. So what was that like for you in your own situation where, you're unsure, will he see tomorrow? I mean, like, what does that feel like? I mean, I can only imagine. I don't want to imagine. Tell me, how does
No,
that
yeah,
feel?
no. I think I wasn't going to let him die in my mind. And I think that's part of what kept me going, was that I was on full speed for years, determined to save Tyler. I had to use every last brain cell to do it.
So let me ask you this. Okay, so you had nursing experience.
Yeah.
Did you have any kind of experience with um the stuff that your son was going through?
No, no,
Okay,
never. I'd
so
never even seen it.
when you were trying to do everything in your power to save his life, it wasn't like you knew that there was a way to save his life. You were just, tell me. I mean, like, tell me, did you know there was a way to save his life? Did you know, or tell
No,
me.
no. I just knew, like, when we ran out of places to put the PIC line, um, that was when the doctor said, "We're sorry. We've done everything we can do." They gave me the talk. They sat me down at the table, and I went, okay. And
And he was 8 years old at the time.
yeah,
Okay.
but he looked
And
like
how was he? Yeah. So how was he? Like, how was his attitude with everything?
he
Because
was tiny, tiny little guy. He looked like he was about 2 or 3, and he's nonverbal, so he can say words, but he's doesn't put them together very much. He did the other day. It was kind of funny when the dog got in the pool. Yeah. Dog swimming in the pool, and we're like, what?
but
So
so at 8 years old, they tell you, I'm sorry.
yeah.
There's nothing we could do for you, Lulu.
Yep.
Um, enjoy the moments you have left with your. So what did they say?
They just said that there's nothing else they can do. There's nowhere else to put a PIC line in, and he's obviously can't be fed by mouth or by G tube. His intestines can't sustain him. And
Well, he was going to starve to death.
basically,
And let me ask you. So that's painful.
yeah.
I mean, when you don't eat, I mean, hunger pang is very, very, very painful. So was he supposed to just endure that? What did they?
Well, no one told me. No one said anything about how to make him comfortable or anything like that. But I wasn't, I probably wouldn't have paid too much attention anyway, because I was on a different path. I was
Right.
not what
How
that.
was his will to live at 8 years old?
Oh, I don't think he understood what was going on. But he's a very, very stubborn child, which I think has helped. He wants things his way. He's going to do it no matter what. And if you get in his way, watch out. So,
So at 8 years old, like with everything he had been through, what was his attitude like? I guess is what I'm asking. What were you
oh,
keeping
well,
alive besides your son? What was his spirit like at that? What was he like for those 8 years? I know he had horrific things that went on, but there had to have been some good moments because
oh,
other
sure.
yeah,
In
there had to
between,
have
yeah. We took him to Hawaii. He got to go swimming on the beautiful beach in Maui. Of course, I had to wrap his arm up with a PIC line in it so tight his arm turned purple. But he got to go on a Disney cruise. He has been to Disneyland. We've been more times than I can count. We take him everywhere we can. That's also been backing way up, back in the PICU when he's 2 months old, and I don't know that if he's going to live or not. I whispered in his ear, hang on, hold on. There's much to live for. I promise. I promise I'll give you a good life. And I've really have tried to hold up to that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what's his favorite thing? Like, even at 8 years old, like, what was his favorite thing at that age?
Probably the iPad.
At 8 years old, at the
Yeah.
iPad was
Yeah.
his favorite thing? Is it games? Was it watching movies? What?
He likes YouTube.
Okay, fair enough.
He watches like weird clips of, like, they'll take like a clip of Sesame Street, and these people, I don't know if they're trying to like demonstrate the things that Filmora can do, but they'll
Okay.
like put it in like slow motion, or like just these awful effects, and he likes them, so he gets to wear earphones because I don't want to hear it.
Okay, but at 8 years old, what
Yeah.
was that's what it was that
Yeah.
he was into? Okay.
Yeah,
Alright,
Yo
so
Gabba Gabba.
okay, so there was joy as well in his
Oh
life,
yeah.
obviously. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, alright.
Yeah. I
So
think because Tyler's never known anything different.
yeah, but I mean, like, if somebody's exhausted and they're not having any good days, then there's a big difference about quality of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a quality of life, and there
Oh,
were
sure.
things to look
Sure.
forward to and stuff like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So go ahead. At 8 years old, they tell you, sorry, take them home.
Yep. And I decided not to let him starve. And I thought, well, maybe if we feed him very, very slowly, maybe let's see what happens. So I did. I started feeding him 1 teaspoon every half hour. And I'd set my alarm. And then he tolerated it, and I can tell he
So it would
tolerates
be
it.
like 1 teaspoon. It was that in his mouth?
No, he had the G tube.
Okay. So you would do it through the G tube.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
He has oral aversion, like I explained in the video for Gypsy, like she did too, where they don't eat
Want to.
unless it's what they consider a safe food. Like for my son, it's Cheetos. I don't remember what Gypsy's was. I know it was Pedialyte. Oh, mashed potatoes. That was listed.
I got to tell you something. I understand the mashed potatoes more than I do the Cheetos, simply because, Cheetos, they're crunchy, right? Not the cheese puffs. So the Cheetos.
He likes the natural ones, not the orange ones. The natural Cheetos.
Yeah, but aren't they still? They're still the crunchier ones as opposed to the puffs. So somebody who's having a hard time swallowing, I can totally see them with the cheese.
No, he can swallow. Gypsy had a problem swallowing. Tyler can swallow, no problem.
But so he always could swallow then, your son.
Yeah.
That's why he was with breast milk.
Yeah.
But so what was happening when he was eating the food then? Explain that to me. I'm sorry. I'm missing something.
Yeah, it's okay. He only would eat certain things, and he was getting, the IV food, so it didn't really matter what. I was just glad that he was still using his mouth.
Right. Yeah, well, I didn't think that. I mean, I kind of didn't understand why he was because when you said that he was breastfeeding, that you were breastfeeding, and that they had said maybe you should not, I thought it was because maybe. So if he did at that age eat food or swallow food, it would go where it was supposed to go, or wouldn't it? It would,
but he just didn't have enough intestine to absorb it.
And that's why it went. And that's why the PICC line went. It didn't go into the intestine. It went, you said, to the heart.
Right.
Okay. So because the intestine wasn't going to take it, but there was something in it this time to feed the lower intestine, you said, right now? If you gave it to him a half.
I think I might have not explained this very well to you, and I
Yeah, I'm sorry
apologize for
because
that.
I don't know, and if I don't know, I would assume that at least one other person watching this isn't going to understand.
Yeah, so the PICC line is totally separate from the intestines. That's a sterile, just like an IV. It just goes into a bigger vein, and
that goes to the heart.
that feeds to the heart, right?
Okay. Do all PICC lines go to the heart? No.
Well, central lines usually lead to the heart. As far
Okay.
as, I mean, I'm pretty sure they do, most of them. Because usually with central lines, and someone's probably going to say I'm totally wrong, and I might be. It's been a long time, but my my memory of it is that most of them do go into a large vein that lead to the heart. Could be wrong. Tyler's did.
Okay. So, all right, go ahead. So I'm sorry.
So that's one way to feed a person. That's the last resort on how to feed someone, is through total parenteral nutrition, IV nutrition.
The other way would be just the G tube.
The other way is the G tube, and that's like people blend up food and put it in and do all sorts of things. But for Tyler, because he was missing most of his intestines, we were very limited on what he could tolerate.
So when you say that, is that something like maybe chicken broth, or what would it be like?
Oh no, not even that. I wish. I like bone broth would be great if he could tolerate it. The only thing that he really tolerates is his formula, which is a medical formula. It's not off the shelf in a grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
It's a what's it called? It's called Elecare, and I'm totally blanking on it. It's an amino acid food. It's really
Okay.
It's like as broken down as you can make something for food.
Wow. Wow. So does he okay, so that's what you were giving him a half an hour.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
So after I actually had added some things to the formula because his potassium was always low. And I was thinking, how, what, I need to put potassium in this formula. I need to, how do I do this? Well, it turns out that you can buy potassium off the shelf at the grocery store. It's called no salt. Have you ever heard of no salt?
No.
No.
I mean,
well, I looked it up on the World Health Organization. They have a recipe for basically Pedialyte, but it's their version of it.
okay.
And I used their formula for it to make Pedialyte, and I added his formula to that.
Okay.
So he got the potassium and the salt that he needed.
Okay.
And after a week, we did his labs, and he had stabilized. He was, it was working.
Right.
After a few months, he had gained 20 plus pounds. He gained 25 pounds within 6 months.
Wow, that's great. Great, right?
Yeah.
So is he going to the doctors at any point during this time?
Yes. Yes. And the doctor looked at him and said, I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Yeah.
All right. So continue on.
Well, he was one of the doctors who said, take him home. There's nothing that can be done.
Right.
They never even suggested to feed him. The obvious.
So, well, I mean, that's what I was saying.
They assumed that he wouldn't tolerate it.
But I mean, like, to make a child die of starvation, like, I don't fucking understand that.
Well, I don't know what else they could really do.
Well, at least give them something for that pain of hunger. That's a horrible pain. I heard it's one of the most, I mean, people that starve to death, I heard it's horrible. I mean, like an absolute horrible death. So, I mean, that's why I'm saying, like, why would, I mean, a
Well, I
child.
know it's a known fact that when like in infants, pain management is really, really overlooked because babies can't talk and they don't complain. It's
Oh, they complain. We just might not understand what it is that they're complaining about.
right,
And we read
right,
it as
right.
something else.
But yeah, but
I mean,
go ahead.
everybody's got their way of trying to
Right, but they can't start banging on their bed
verbalize
and
it.
saying,
Right.
"I'm in pain. Do
Right, right,
something,"
right. They can't verbalize what it is.
Right.
Right, exactly. They can say they're in pain by crying and showing and even maybe pointing at some point, but what is it?
Yeah,
You know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
do you
That you
really
can't
think they would be
articulate.
doing circumcision with no anesthesia if babies could talk? I don't.
Yeah. Well, the adults need to speak up on that one, in my opinion. But anyway, so okay, so he's doing good. He's got 25 pounds, and the doctors are saying that, well, there's that's miraculous because you just decided to think outside the box.
Pretty much.
Okay. So if you wouldn't have kept fighting, I mean, your son clearly would not be here.
Correct.
Okay. So do you want to continue on? Because I know he's older than 8.
Oh yeah. This is just a whole nother topic though, Toddy, and it's like, ugh, because he did get into trouble. And he lost about 3 inches of intestine, and we got into a war with the hospital because they wanted to put in a PICC line through his liver.
Mm.
And I
And
said,
when was this? When did this happen?
this was when much later.
Okay.
Much later.
So what had happened that, I mean, can you share like
He had an obstruction.
Oh, okay, so he was doing good and then he had a blockage.
Right, but because of his it's called short bowel syndrome from losing all of that intestine. He has pica. Have you ever heard of pica?
No.
Like when women eat weird things when they're pregnant, like dirt,
Okay.
clay.
No, I've never heard of that.
Oh yeah. Okay. So pica is believed to be from people who are nutritionally
Deficient?
Yes, deficient in something.
That like so I listen, the only reason why, and I'm not making this compare, is from a dog. Like when
Oh,
a
that's
dog,
fine. I hear what you're saying. Yes.
yeah, when a dog eats feces and dirt and stuff like that, that's what they're doing, I was told. That's the only reason why I know that.
Yeah. So it's the same idea. Thank God Tyler wasn't eating feces, but yeah. He was eating chair foam.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He ate all the foam off the roof of the car. And he's sneaky about it. We didn't even know he was doing it.
Wow.
So
what do you think was going on with the foam in the car? You didn't notice?
Well, I didn't. It wasn't my car. It was my husband's car. And I think Tyler was going in between the roof and the fabric and putting his fingers, that and his car seat, which was underneath him. He would go underneath the fabric cover and take little pieces out and sneak it in.
So he was hungry, obviously.
I don't think he shouldn't have been. He's on a 24-hour feed.
Yeah, but I mean, does that fill him up? I think that, I mean, I don't know, but I would assume that just the fact that this is the way that we eat, I don't know. There's a reason why he was eating that. You don't think it was because he felt like he was hungry?
I think it's because he had pica, because he had a nutritional deficit, and that's what his little brain told him to do to compensate for that.
Right.
And he would, so anyway, he had an obstruction and he ended up getting to be a bad one, and he lost 3 inches of intestine, and that was enough to put him back several years of intestinal growth.
So the intestines do grow back.
A little bit.
They will. And it depends.
They they enlarge. The intestine tries to compensate by dilating to give it
Okay.
more surface area. The more surface area, the more absorption.
And what was was this his large intestine or a small intestine?
Large.
And the large intestine is actually the smallest intestine.
Right. And it's what absorbs a lot of, not a lot of anything, actually. The small intestine's the really important one. But he's missing most of both. So we ended up back in a position where it wasn't enough for him just to have G-tube feeds. He was not able to keep himself hydrated. Hydration was the big issue.
Which I think is a lot more important, isn't it?
Important,
no?
more important than what?
I mean, like, you can survive without eating for a few days, but you can't survive without drinking and being hydrated.
Right.
That's
True.
what I'm saying.
That's true.
So how old was he when this happened?
15.
So when he had the blockage, that's how did you know that?
Because he stopped pooping.
And it's painful as well,
Yes.
obviously.
And he was bloated. And
Because there was no way. So
he was vomiting.
you have to have some way to get the shit out, basically.
Yep.
So did you see the foam coming up or no? Did you recognize?
Yeah.
So you
Well,
recognize.
he wasn't throwing up foam. It wasn't coming out of his mouth. He wasn't like vomiting his no, he wasn't doing that. It was he has an ostomy. He has a colostomy bag.
Okay.
So I know exactly what's coming out of him because I can see it.
Right. Yep.
And because he doesn't have enough intestine, he has liquid output. It's not even diarrhea. It's just like water.
Okay.
At that point.
Right.
And I could tell by looking at Tyler when he's sick. And that was actually something I meant to mention earlier was when your child can't talk. And I was going to say, you really do have to know them very, very well to be able to pick up on these little nuances that they're putting off. And
sure.
So and a good example of that was when I took him to Boston, to Children's Hospital Boston, to get on an experimental drug because he was having problems with his liver when he was on the IV food, the TPN. And they had this fish oil, IV fish oil, that was like magical. So I dragged him all the way to Boston. Of course, he gets sick there with a line infection. And we're in the ER, and he was doing his sign for I'm sick. And that's when he goes like this. And I could tell, I knew he was sick just by looking at him. They said he's not sick. He doesn't have a fever. See you later in the ER. And I said, I'm going to have to turn around and sign right back in. He's sick.
Mm-hmm.
So sure enough, 20 minutes later, he spiked a fever, and yeah, he was really sick.
Right.
But you learn your child. And I'm sure Dee Dee knew Gypsy very, very well. And those times when she was faking it, she probably wasn't sure.
Right.
But I think she probably knew for the most part.
And also, I mean, like, we have to, Dee Dee's not here for us to ask her how much she fought with people about her kid.
It sounds like she was pretty cooperative.
As far as what? Do you think she gave in or didn't fight at all? I mean, like, what do you...
Well, like, just from the records, the little that I saw, it looked like she was cooperative. Like there was nothing in there like, mom's a psycho, mom's interrupting.
Right.
I'm sure in Tyler's file, there's probably all sorts of stuff saying mom's a nut. Actually, I know it's there. I've gotten into big battles, and that was the last big battle was because they wanted to put in a PICC line through his liver.
Well, I don't understand how that works. So please explain. Well,
we didn't have anywhere to put the PICC line, and that's why he I had to start feeding him the little tiny amounts of
Right,
formula.
right, right,
Right.
right, right,
So
right.
now we're jumping back. They're saying, well, he needs a PICC line. And I'm like,
And
we
how
haven't,
old?
he's
So are we
15.
back when he's 8 years old or now when he's 15?
Now we're 15.
And they're saying we need to put a PICC line in his liver.
We need to put a PICC line in.
So in other words, so let me, and I know I'm interrupting. So once you use a vein for a PICC line and it's destroyed, that's it with the vein.
Well, at least when you're using the parenteral nutrition, like something caustic like that, yes.
Okay.
In
Okay.
Tyler's case, once it's in there and then it's out, it's over.
Okay. 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 All right. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
So they say, there's still nowhere after these 7 years, the veins haven't opened up. There's nothing available. They checked all the arteries and veins, rather. There was nowhere to put a PICC line. And there's this one doctor who is the only doctor in the world who does this, apparently, who puts PICC lines through the liver. And I said, we haven't tried everything first. We need to try other things first before going that route, because one, he's going to get sick. He's got a colostomy bag. That's why he got sick so often before. Try having something that's supposed to stay extremely sterile right next to the dirtiest thing ever. It was very difficult to manage. So one, the liver and the bag were very close. To me, it was a death sentence. You're going to put in a PICC line with a kid who has a history of 36 episodes of sepsis plus, or he's going to pull it out and he's going to bleed out. I said, no way, no way, no way, no way. It's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to work. And they held Tyler at the hospital for 3 months, trying to convince us to put in a PICC line.
Well, how were they feeding him for 3 months at the hospital?
He was getting G-tube feeds plus IV hydration.
Okay.
So a regular IV. Well, there's something where you know how you've seen a dog or a cat get an IV under the skin?
Mm-hmm. I've had an IV.
Have you ever had it put under your skin?
I don't
not
know.
in a vein? I doubt it.
I don't know.
It's not something they normally do.
Okay.
But I remembered in veterinarian care that they don't put the IVs in a vein. They put it underneath their skin and it goes into the cutaneous tissue, rather. They just put it under the skin and they let the IV flow and the fluid absorbs into the body, into the veins, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, well, why wouldn't that work for a person? Since we have nowhere to put a PICC line, why couldn't we hydrate Tyler doing the same thing? And they said, well, we don't do that here. I said, well, all right, whatever. I looked through their policy books. They actually do.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to. They were on a mission to put a PICC line in Tyler no matter what.
Right.
I said, to the tune of 3 months of us sitting there saying, no, we're not doing it.
Right. Wow.
3 months is a long time to be in the hospital.
Yep. Yes, it is. So was he in Boston?
No, that was back here in LA.
Okay.
So toward the end of the 3 months, this more experienced physician came in and he said, well, why don't you just use this drug called Gattex? And so we got him on Gattex. And
what is Gattex? Well, explain
Gattex
that.
is a medication that increases the intestinal absorption.
So you didn't know anything about it, apparently.
No, I had heard about it, but I didn't know much about it. I didn't think that Tyler was eligible for it. I thought it was for people who are only on IV food nutrition, the TPN. I didn't realize that it could be offered to patients who weren't on TPN, but it could, and they should have done.
But he was on TPN, right? He was on it.
No, he wasn't. He was
not
on
at that time.
No. This is when he lost. Like, that's why I said it's so complicated. It's like I feel like I need a board and like a timeline to show.
Right.
It's
But
so
at one point
complicated.
he was on TPN.
Yes, for 8
Okay,
years.
From 2 months to 8 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Yeah.
okay. So, but
So
he
we got
wasn't
him on
on
this
it.
drug that
Right.
increases intestinal absorption, and he was fine. And here we are today. Ta-da!
So he's been on that for a lot of years now.
Well, he's not on it anymore, but
Okay.
it got him out of the woods, you know, for the amount of time that he needed.
And just one doctor came in and said, "Hey, why don't we try this?"
Yeah, it was the one who was more experienced. And that's, you know, I always try to go for the older doctors, but this was at Children's Hospital in Los Angeles, and you don't get to choose who your doctor is, and they're always rotating. And he wasn't in very often. So when he finally was in, he had the answer. But it was a battle. I mean, they told Child Protective Services that I was trying to kill Tyler.
See, that's that Munchausen by proxy bullshit. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
did they ever try to diagnose you with that?
No, but the drunk surgeon accused me of it. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? What have I done? She's like, you're feeding him. You're feeding him. I'm like, your resident told me to feed him. What are you talking about? It was a battle. That just, you know.
Right.
Bad. And then my advice for anyone who's ever in a situation where you know you've been done wrong in a hospital, take my advice. Don't have your attorney come to the hospital to visit you, because when the whole staff sees that, all hell breaks loose and you don't see anybody. They come in and get out as fast as they can.
So you had to get a lawsuit against them for everything.
Hell yeah. Absolutely.
Right. Wow. Wowza. So Tyler, what's the quality of life for him now? How is he doing now?
Tyler is a real mixed bag. You know, he loves letters. He loves to read. He doesn't have great comprehension, but he taught himself through apps how to read.
Really?
Yeah.
Because he's never been homeschooled?
Well, I have. I mean, I've worked a lot with him, and I've bought every single flashcard, and we do flashcards. We probably have 2,000 flashcards. I bought all of the educational materials, like for homeschooling, but he can't do traditional homeschooling.
So let me ask you this. As far as the laws go for Tyler, does he have to go to school like any other kid? Or
Yeah. I did homeschooling. Yeah, I did. But like he can't hold a pencil. So like he can't do like the workbooks and whatnot. I just taught him in the way he understood the best.
Right.
My phone.
But he definitely did have to go to homeschool. He definitely did.
I had it. Yeah. He did. I don't think your viewers are going to find this interesting, to be honest.
I don't think we need to say that. Here's the thing, you know, you don't know what people find interesting, or, you know, somebody could relate to this and it could be about something completely different. It could be about a struggle that they've had with a parent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't mean this is insulting. This is the way people are treated today for everything. You got to fucking fight to get anything done.
Yeah.
The fact that human life isn't treated with some sort of urgency, especially a child's.
Yeah.
There is something wrong with this country. When a parent has to fight, my doctors, they are being dictated by insurance companies on procedures that they can do, which might not be the procedure that they think can help the patient. And that's not why they got into the bullshit. You know, that's not why they went to school. And that's not why they trained in all this stuff. To have an insurance company come in and say, no, fuck that. We're going to do it this way. And it's all about money. And that's a problem today for everybody, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And that's like the main point of my story, is to tell people the hospital is a business. They're not your friend. They don't care about you. It's a business. It boils down to money. What's going to be the most cost effective? How are we going to make the most money?
That's
You'll
the
find
way it is.
caring people in a hospital, of course.
Yep.
I was in the hospital. I cared.
Yep.
But
No, I
didn't
get
call
it.
the shots.
Right. The point in this video is that here's a mother with medical experience and common sense, right? And we'd like to believe that Dee Dee had a little bit of medical experience from being around and hearing conversations and common sense. We'd like to think she had common sense, right? She did. I mean, you got to think of even the grift, and there was a grift. I mean, I think Dee Dee was changing the age on Gypsy for the benefit of Gypsy. Now, right or wrong, it's not right. But also, I think she needed as much medical help as possible being a single mom. And you get more medical help when your kid's a kid as opposed to an adult. Because I think you lose things at a certain age. Yeah, you know, you cap out at a certain age. So going back and having her age be younger gave them a lot more time, or at least a few more years time to figure out what was wrong with her, because as we know, the chromosome disorder wasn't figured out until like 4 years before Dee Dee died, was murdered. And the specific chromosome wasn't diagnosed for about 2 years before. So it was 2 years after the chromosome deficiency was acknowledged and then, or recognized, and then the specific chromosome that it wasn't recognized until 2 years later than that. So here you have Dee Dee Blanchard, you know, and you know, I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't know Tyler's behavior, but I think we know Gypsy's behavior. We've seen it. Even in the videos that have the home movies, if you will, of Gypsy, we've seen it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've seen the behavior and the attitude. So I mean, and she did it alone. You're very fortunate that, you know, your husband
yeah. I really
and
have so much
and
respect for her.
and you know, it's, and I'm not, I don't know how much money you have, but I think you have more money than her, because she didn't have shit. She had nothing. She had absolutely nothing. And here she was trying to, you know, save her daughter's life. Don't you think at some point she was trying to save her daughter's life in
Absolutely.
her mind, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
somebody's born with the micro deletion that Gypsy has, and I'm not trying to take away from your story, but
No, it's okay.
when somebody's born, like you knew right away when Tyler was born, whoa, something's wrong. I mean, you clearly
Pretty
knew that,
obvious.
right? Because there were organs you said outside of his body.
Right. And intestines.
Yeah, so I mean that's very visible, obviously.
Yep.
And you also said that you knew in the ultrasound that
Yeah.
this was right. And you know, kudos to you for that. For I don't know how old he I don't know how old, I don't know when in his before he came out into the world that you recognized, oh my God, I am gonna have a life of taking care of this child.
Oh
But
no. I was told that he was going to lead a normal life.
even with the intestines outside.
Yes. No, because the surgeon told me this is, easy fix. I'll repair it at birth. She's like, I've done it many times before. In fact, I have another patient who's a star soccer player.
So so wait a minute, let me ask you something, which maybe I missed something here. Was this a result of malpractice?
Yes.
I missed something here.
The intestines being on the outside were just nature.
He was born that way. Yes, that no, that I understand. But he could have lived a healthy life, and
Yes.
everything had the surgery been
And she
successful.
responded in its timely manner. Yes, absolutely.
All right, so I'm sorry. I thought that Tyler was sick. Well, he was okay. I understand. He was born with problems that could have been surgically corrected and have probably been surgically corrected
Yeah.
millions of times, not millions, probably millions of times by doctors when a child is born this way. Because
Yeah.
I have heard of that.
Yeah.
But because this doctor had been late, very late to address the issue, Tyler suffered,
Yes.
and this was his suffering.
Yes.
And
All of
since
us.
then,
It
yeah, of
ruined
course,
us.
all of you is right. All of you is
Mhm.
right. All of you is right, including his sister,
Yeah.
right? Including his
Yes.
sister. So, may I ask what surgery his sister had that was life-saving by the
Oh yeah.
doctor?
Yeah. She inherited a blood disorder from her father, a different husband.
Okay. So a half brother or sister, they're half
Yes.
a sibling.
Yes.
Okay.
And her blood disorder is, you know what sickle cell is?
Yes.
So where the blood cells are shaped like a sickle shaped.
Yes.
Her blood disorder is actually the opposite of that. The blood cells are globular, like a globe. They're like a
Okay.
big ball. And what happened was, um, she went into a crisis where too much of her blood got trapped in her spleen, because the blood cells have to be pliable to make it through the spleen.
Right.
And hers were like hard balls,
And they wouldn't go, yeah.
and
So I
and
can
so they
picture
all got
that.
stuck
Right.
in
A
her tummy.
blockage.
So when they had to take out her spleen, it was 6 pounds. She
I
was
don't know
4
what
years
an average
she
spleen
was
goes.
4 years old. An
Oh my
average spleen
God.
is about the size of your fist.
Okay, yeah. Well, when you said 4 years old, I know that they ain't that big. I know
Yeah.
that they ain't
It was
that.
huge.
Yeah,
Huge.
wow. And I understand when you look and you say that, yeah, there's a problem here, obviously. So again, my question goes back to when Gypsy was born. Now she had the microcephaly, right? The
Yeah,
microcephaly.
microcephaly. Yeah.
Yep. And that's the smaller head.
Right.
So I I don't think we have medical records that go back that far. Maybe they'll come out in a FOIA at some point, but would a doctor be able to look at Gypsy and say, yeah, there might be a problem here?
I mean, I think there were markers, like the microcephaly, and her eyes.
Yeah,
But
she would have,
when
her eyes
they're
would
a
have been.
newborn, their eyes are wonky anyway. It takes a while for babies' eyes to get some
Yeah, but
strength.
don't you think her eyes would have been more pronounced, more wonkier than the average bear?
Probably. But I mean,
We're gonna keep this one in.
babies I told you before, they're not all cute. And
You
she
did tell me that.
she she might have been one of those babies where you looked at and went, whoa.
I gotta tell you, and I'm not gonna say this much, but when she was in that little rocking thing, when her mom starts saying, "Where's your cranium?" and "Where's
Oh
this?"
yeah. All the
She's
wrong
adorable.
terminology.
She's adorable.
She was a cute baby.
And I've heard content creators say, the one thing she had that she keeps fucking up is her hair. Like, what
Yeah.
a great head of hair,
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
so a doctor comes in. So, I mean, customer care and just listening, especially when there is somebody that you love at stake, I just think that we could do better. Okay,
Mhm.
so a doctor comes in and gives you the news, and it's not good news. And then I think not only should the doctor be there, but some sort of therapist should be there. And then, the doctor leaves, and then you kind of like talk it out with the therapist. And through that, you start asking questions. And then that therapist says, well, okay, let's keep the questions. We're going to ask the doctor, but let's try to get through maybe the emotional bit of it so that when we ask the doctor, we'll remember the questions and the answers
Mm-hmm.
and we won't be so emotional. There needs to be something that allows people to be people.
Yeah.
And we've stopped that. We've stopped allowing people to have a human reaction and the time for that human reaction to be able to sit and say, hang on, wait, let me process this.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is no there's no compassion, there's no empathy, there's nothing that allows us that makes it possible to make that connection because you need that especially at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't, I found out it was a big game, for me when Tyler was at Children's Hospital. It was all a big game for them. And I had to really bite my tongue a lot.
Basically, I really just wanted people to see how desperate a mom would be in fighting
Yeah.
for,
Like there's so many different avenues we can go with this. I've had over 10 calls to CPS placed on me that I could talk about too. And it's used as a tactic by hospitals. It's as a weapon.
really
Oh
to
yeah,
get
they said
you to
I was trying to kill Tyler because I wouldn't put in a PICC line. I was trying to save his life,
right.
you know?
Well, let
I
me
had
ask
a
you real quick, like, so how did that end? How did you get CPS to believe that you were
I just told him
um
the truth. I'm like,
right?
they're nuts. We've had, 36 PICC lines. None of it has gone well. We haven't tried everything. And they're like, you're right.
Right.
It's just common sense. There's a lack of common sense
Well, let
in
me ask you
hospitals.
a question, and this might be too personal, but it might apply to why people might be afraid or were afraid to maybe help Tyler. His condition is a result of malpractice.
Yeah.
So I would assume that there was a lawsuit, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So did you win that lawsuit? I would assume so.
We settled.
Okay, so you settled. But you're in the same place, right? That all of that shit happened, right? So I
Yep.
mean, so
Are
they
you saying,
know,
are they afraid to treat Tyler because they're afraid we're going to sue them?
yeah,
There is some of that. Yeah.
yeah,
Word gets
yeah,
around.
yeah.
And it's
That's
not
what I'm
because we
saying.
told them. We didn't tell
Because
them.
it's a small, right? It's a small community.
Yeah.
You're right where this happened,
Yeah.
basically. Yes. So that's why I'm saying that. So not only were you fighting to keep him alive, um, and you had that battle of doctors, I'm sorry, that feel like they always know better and they always know more. That's what I have come across in my life until I got older and was able to open up my mouth and had experience with my own body to say, listen, man, for 30 years, dot, 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 dot. But when you're younger and when a patient is younger, they don't have that to go back. So they think you're crazy. They think all of this, and all you're trying to do is save his life. And then on top of it, they're saying, listen, we're stuck in a position here because if we fuck up, we know she's going to sue. And, you know, so, I mean, that's even worse. And that's not your fault.
No, but and also once they would talk with me and I could explain things that I wasn't just being rebellious and saying I don't want a PICC line because I don't want one. Once I explained why,
Right.
they would understand. I always wanted them to work with me.
Right.
They wanted to tell me what to do, tell me how things were going to go. And I wanted to say, hey, look, I know my son really well. Work with me. I know what's going to work at home and what's not.
Well, Lulu, I thank you for sharing your story with
Thank
me. And
you.
we might do a part two. Let's see how people can respond to this, if anybody can relate to it. But definitely, you know, I didn't realize that what happened with your son could have been completely avoidable. I thought that there was an illness. It doesn't make it any less
Right.
anything. It's just you
It
still
makes it
had
more frustrating for you, though. Like I have to really try hard not to think about the what ifs.
right, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like because of somebody's behavior,
And
absolutely.
as Ryan
So.
says, it is what it is.
Well, but you still, obviously are there for him and you
Yeah.
still, advocate for him. And it's not easy when you have a system that's not always on our side and such. And, I think that people will be able to relate to Dee Dee's
Yeah.
dilemma, but as well as probably relate to something that they've been through and definitely hear your story loud and clear. So thank you for sharing it with us.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Hey guys, check out Lulu on the Mothership Explores. Please check out her channel
And the video.
and the video of Dee Dee
Surviving
Blanchard.
Gypsy.
Yep, in Dee Dee's own words, as the way that Lulu thinks that Dee Dee would have been trying to save her daughter's life. And
Yeah.
all of the struggles and obstacles she would have went through as a single mom, and not just as a single mom, but as a single mom that had nothing,
Right.
absolutely nothing, no support, no nothing. So
She's
all right
amazing.
guys,
Yeah.
yeah, right, all right guys, thank you so much, and I appreciate you, and we'll see you on the next one. Be well.
Bye. Thank
And
you.
thank you, Lulu.
Thank you.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed the conversation. It was more of a conversation. The argument is, why is it so hard to take care of people that we care for? Why is it so difficult? Why are we fighting with doctors when sometimes we know what's best for the people that we love because we spend time with them? Guys, I really do appreciate Lulu. Please check out her channel, Mothership Explores, and that great video that she put out. She's putting out some other videos as well. Guys, remember, if you stand on anything, make sure it starts with a good argument. Thank you guys. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.